जिनिवाति दीनाम् अवित्रवतु।
Good afternoon, students. I am Professor Pranali. I am going to cover today the topic market structures in this microeconomics class. Let me first start with the definition of the market. Now, for layman, the market definition is nothing but it is a place where buyers and sellers meet. But in economic terms, this is not so. In economics, market is a link between a buyer and a seller. So, it is if this link, it can be a direct linkage or indirect one, but it is a link between a buyer and a seller. So, therefore, market is classified on the basis of certain factors like there are factors like place, time. Market is also classified on the basis of degree of competitiveness. It is also classified on the basis of the degree of the nature of the product. First of all, the basic classification of the market is the product market and the factor market. Product market is the market where there is a buying and selling of the goods. Okay. So now what happens is that when we talk about the market structure here, we will be majorly talking about the product market. Rather, we will be talking only about the product market where goods are bought and sold. Okay. Now, let me tell you what is the classification, what I mean. Now, this is the broad classification that I gave you about the market structure, that is nothing but a product market and the factor market. Now, the basic classification when we get into, there is a classification according to the time period, like you have short time period, you have long time period. If according to the places I have to classify the market, then I will classify the market as per local market, national market, international market. If according to the degree of competitiveness and the nature of the product I have to classify the market, I will classify the market on the basis of perfect competition and imperfect competition. Now, there are certain types of market structures which we will be talking about in the degree of competitiveness. Now, first of all, types of market that we are discussing in this class is perfect competition, then we will be discussing monopoly, monopolistic competition and oligopoly. Now, these are the forms of market which we are going to discuss in this class. And to start with, I will start with perfect competition, as this is an idealistic situation of the market and it is considered for the theoretical understanding, that is to compare it with other imperfect markets in order to understand the difference. Perfect competition is considered as an idealistic market. So let us start with the perfect competition. Now, perfect competition has got certain features which are typically assumed features, not possible most of the times in reality, and that is the reason this is a theoretical concept. Now, perfect competition is a market where there is large number of buyers and sellers. Okay, then the goods that are sold in this market are identical in nature, and that's the reason prices of the goods or commodities are same in perfect competition. Now, perfect competition assumes certain things like there is no government interference, there is no transport cost. Now let us have these features one by one. When we say no transport cost, it means what? If the transport cost is included in perfect competition, then prices will not remain the same, because for every firm, okay, there will be different location, and if the transport cost is included, then that transport cost is going to differ for each firm, and that's the reason transport cost is assumed to be nil in this case. No government interference is another feature of the perfect competition that is necessary. Otherwise, if taxes are included on the commodities, again there will not be uniformity, and that's the reason it is assumed that there is no government interference in this market. Factors of production are perfectly mobile in perfect competition, so that there is equal cost for all firms. And lastly, if we see the last feature of the perfect competition, which is again very important, that is the perfect knowledge to the buyer as well as seller. That is, seller is fully aware, okay, at what price it is to be sold and what price is there in the market, as well as buyer has full information about the market price. So there is no there is no lack of information in this market as such, and therefore perfect knowledge is there on both the sides, that is buyer's side as well as seller's side. These are the features of the perfect competition. Now we are going to see how the equilibrium price and output gets decided in the market. That is determination of equilibrium price and output that happens. Let me start with the basic equilibrium term. That is, what is an equilibrium? It is the position of rest or balance. So equilibrium is the condition from which firm will have no motivation to deviate from. That is, firm likes to maintain that position known to be equilibrium position. At that particular position, there is a maximum satisfaction to the firm. And what is the maximum satisfaction point to the firm? That is the profit maximizing point. Alright, so profit maximization happens at the equilibrium condition, and therefore there is determination of equilibrium. When it is done, it is the position of rest or balance, and that is the position, that nothing but the position where maximum profit is taken by the firm. Okay, that is what the profit means. Equilibrium condition means. Now let me just explain you what is this profit, how this profit is calculated in the given situation. The simple term is profit will be calculated by understanding the difference between total revenue and total cost. So the difference between total revenue and total cost is nothing but profit. So what is the total revenue? Total revenue is nothing but maximum sales revenue expected by an entrepreneur. Okay, sales revenue that is received by an entrepreneur after selling the output. So when the output is sold in the market, the revenue that is earned by an entrepreneur known to be the total revenue earned by the firm. What is the total cost? The cost that is incurred on rent, wages, okay, then profits, even for that matter, interest. So for all this, during the production process, when these expenses are done, that becomes a total cost, and the difference between a total revenue and total cost is nothing but a profit. Now our firm will be, as I have already said, that a firm will be in equilibrium when the output level is produced at certain level where the profit is maximized. Now, how equilibrium price and output gets determined in the market? We have got two approaches to determine the equilibrium output in the market. The first approach that is there is total revenue and total cost approach, and the second approach that is there is marginal revenue and marginal cost approach. So let us start with total revenue and total cost approach, which is given here. Now total revenue and total cost approach says that profit levels are achieved by difference between, that is maximizing the difference between total revenue and total cost. So when revenue is more than a cost, profit levels are achieved. So now I am explaining you this table, which is giving the description about total revenue and total cost approach. Okay, what is given here is output levels are given. Okay, total revenue is given in the second column, total cost is given in the third column, and we have calculated total revenue minus total cost in the last column. Now let us understand this table one by one. See, when the first level of output is produced, total revenue is rupees 10, total cost is rupees 14, and the difference between the two is minus 4. Now here there is no profit, in fact there is a loss. Why? Because total cost is more than the total revenue. But as production starts, what is happening to total revenue is increasing. You will see simultaneously total cost is also increasing. But let us see at each level of output what is happening to the revenue and the cost. Okay, when second level of output is produced, total revenue becomes 20, total cost becomes 15, and the TR minus TC becomes 5. Now at this you can understand that total revenue has increased by 10 here. With an additional unit of output, total revenue has increased by 10. Okay, and there is some increase that has happened to total cost. Okay, similarly when third unit of output is produced, total revenue becomes 30, total cost is 17, and TR minus TC is 13 here. If you observe this table carefully, with every additional unit of output, total revenue is rising and total cost is also rising. And see what is now happening here. Here you will see that TR minus TC figure is also rising with this. Okay. Now let us understand this. What is happening here at each level of unit produced? Here you can see profit levels rising. Okay, so for second unit profit level is 5, for third unit it is 13, for fourth unit 20, fifth unit 24, and when the sixth unit is produced, concentrate on the sixth unit. Okay, when the sixth unit is produced, you can see here that total revenue is 60, total cost is 35, but the profit level is 25 here. Can you all see? So profit level is 25, and if you observe this table and observe all the figures here, you will find that this 25 is the maximum figure. It means what? TR minus TC is maximum at 6th unit. Okay, TR minus TC is maximum at 6th unit, and therefore here you can see that TR minus TC is 25, okay, and therefore 6th unit is the one, that is total 6 units are to be produced in order to have equilibrium output, because at this firm is maximizing its profit. Okay, so according to TR and TC, when I see this table, I will be able to locate that 6th unit, up to 6th unit, profit levels are rising. And see what is happening after 6th unit? What is happening after 6th unit? Profit levels are decreasing. Yes, profit levels are decreasing. Profit levels are going down. It means after 6th unit, if the production is continued, then the profit levels are going to go down because the cost will be increasing. Alright, that is how profit levels get decided, rather not profit levels, rather the equilibrium output gets decided by TR and TC approach. Okay, so here in this diagram, the same approach is is depicted. See this diagram. What is shown here is total revenue is rising at a steady rate, because it is very clear that it's a perfect competition situation, and we know that the price throughout remains the same. So there is no question that total revenue is going to, without any doubt, it is going to rise at a steady rate with every additional unit of output, and there will be with every additional output 10 rupees is going to add, as it starts with 10 rupees is the price. So every additional output will add 10 rupees every time. So the total revenue is shown here. Total cost curve you can see here. The curved one is the total cost curve. And what we can see here is the difference between the total revenue curve and total cost curve is maximized at OQ level of output. Can you all see OQ level of output? See, at OQ level of output, this gap between the TR and TC is maximum, and therefore that is the equilibrium level of output. And you can see that this gap between TR and TC, here you can see the tangent drawn, okay, to the curve TC, and this is how we are measuring the gap between the two, and that is how the gap is maximum at this particular point, and therefore OQ level of output is the equilibrium output that is there in under perfect competition. Alright, now the second approach, if if not TR and TC, the second approach is marginal revenue and marginal cost approach. Okay, so we can see here marginal revenue and marginal cost approach. And what is the methodology, or rather what is a theory of MR and MC is, according to this approach, that is marginal revenue and marginal cost approach, the equilibrium output is determined at a point where MR is equal to MC. So when MR becomes equal to MC, that level of output is nothing but an equilibrium level of output. What we have seen in TR and TC approach, the TR and TC gap, maximum gap, gives us equilibrium output. Instead, now in MR and MC, that is marginal revenue and marginal cost approach, we see that wherever the level of output at which MR is equal to MC, that is an equilibrium output. That is a profit maximizing output. Okay. Now this is clear from the second table that I have shown here, that is MR and MC approach. So marginal revenue is nothing but what? It is an additional revenue that firm earns, okay, out of the selling of an additional unit of output. And marginal cost is nothing but the cost incurred for every additional unit of output. Okay, that is marginal cost. So let us understand this table now. This is the output that is shown here: total revenue, marginal revenue, total cost and marginal cost. Okay. Now see, when we start, even if there is output 0, okay, total cost, there has to be some cost, because cost always remains in terms of fixed cost, if not variable cost. Okay, total cost is made up of two factors, that is fixed cost and a variable cost. Variable cost will be there only when the production starts, but total cost is there, fixed cost is there even when the production is not there, because fixed cost is a cost which is already incurred, and that's the reason here what cost we see is must be coming from fixed cost. Even if the output is not there, total cost is there, that is fixed cost is there. Now here the output starts, that is at first unit of output, total revenue is 10, marginal revenue is 10, okay, total cost is shown 14 and marginal cost is 2. Of course, marginal cost, how it is calculated? Total cost that is originally there, it is to be deducted from the TC minus TC n minus 1. That is, the earlier cost is to be deducted from the new cost that is there after the production of additional unit. So 14 minus 12, 2. Okay, so likewise we will be calculating marginal cost column. So if we go on observing this table, we will understand that here marginal cost, see what is happening to marginal cost and marginal revenue. Start comparing marginal revenue and marginal cost at each level. If first unit of output is considered, see at the first unit, when the first unit of output is produced, marginal revenue is 10, marginal cost is 2. So there is no match. Second unit of output is produced, here marginal revenue is 10, marginal cost is 1. Okay, as long as marginal revenue is more than the marginal cost, there is a scope of production. So those many outputs will be produced more. And we see third unit of output, still the marginal revenue is 10 and the marginal cost is 2. Okay, then fourth unit of output, marginal revenue is 10 and the marginal cost is 3. When fifth level of fifth unit is produced, then that time marginal revenue is 10 and marginal cost is 5. When sixth unit of output is produced, we can see that marginal revenue is 10 as well as marginal cost is becoming 10. So this is the output at which firm will consider it as an equilibrium output, because at this output, this is 10, marginal revenue is becoming equal to the marginal cost. Now this is shown in this diagram even. This marginal revenue, marginal cost approach diagram is this. Okay. Now see what is shown in this diagram. X-axis has output and Y-axis shows revenue and cost. I have drawn AR is equal to MR here in a horizontal way and marginal cost curve is shown. Now in this, okay, first let me tell you that why AR is equal to MR is a horizontal line in perfect competition. It is for the reason that perfect competition has the same price and price change will not occur. That's the reason average revenue and marginal revenue and price they coincide. Okay. Now, if marginal costs curve is shown here. You can see 2 points here, that is E1 and E. Now, what is the methodology that I just told you about marginal revenue and marginal cost? I told you that according to this approach, wherever marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost, that is an equilibrium output. Now, you may get confused between these 2 points as to at both the points MR is equal to MC. So, which point will you decide as an equilibrium output? Isn't it? You can even say OQ1 level of output or OQ level of output. Is it not a confusing situation now? Okay. But I also told you along with it, let me give you a hint that just now when I was explaining you this, so I started with this point, first unit, and I said that as long as marginal revenue is higher than marginal cost, output can be taken. So that is nothing but output can be expanded further if marginal revenue is higher than marginal cost. So there are 2 points at which this happens, but see what is happening after E1 point, marginal cost curve is going below marginal revenue curve. Isn't it? Marginal cost curve is going below marginal revenue curve, and that's the reason there is a further scope of production. So this cannot be the point of equilibrium. This cannot be the point at which sellers would satisfy themselves. Isn't it? And that's the reason OQ1 level of output is not an equilibrium output. Rather, OQ level of output is the equilibrium output, because what is happening after point E is marginal cost, okay, is going up. See, after point E, if you see this point, after that it is marginal cost is rising. So this is the point, okay, where the firm would like to stop. So there are 2 conditions rather for MR and MC approach, not just one condition. First condition I told you that wherever MR is equal to MC, that is an equilibrium output, isn't it? But that is not the sufficient condition for determining equilibrium output. Rather, the necessary condition along with MR and MC, that is MR equalizing MC. Another necessary condition is the fact that MR or MC, rather MC curve has to touch MR curve from below and not from above. Because only when MC curve touches MR curve from below, the cost will further rise and there will be no further scope for production. You understand? So, 2 necessary conditions that I have told you about MR and MC approach is that first condition for equilibrium output is MR is equal to MC, and the second condition is MC curve has to touch MR curve from below. Alright, have you understood till here? Okay. Now, let me now concentrate on equilibrium conditions under perfect competition. Okay. So now, let us see this. How equilibrium first of all gets decided in the perfect competition market. Okay. Now, let me just remind you few things before I get into the equilibrium conditions of the perfect competition. I told you a few things. Okay. First of all, perfect competition, there is a situation where large number of buyers and sellers are there in the market, and that's the reason a seller, okay, cannot determine the price because the price is same, okay, and sellers don't have a control over the price. Rather, price is determined by the forces of demand and supply into the market, and the price that is determined by the demand and supply in the market, that is to be accepted by all the firms. Okay, that is the situation of perfect competition, and therefore the fact is here it is shown that how price gets determined in the market. You can see that DD is the demand curve, SS is the supply curve, and the point at which they are meeting, that is point E. Okay, see the point E I have shown here. Point E that is shown here, okay, that is the point where demand and supply are meeting, and therefore the price determined here is this. this point, and it is extended further to show the price level that is getting determined for the seller. Okay, so OP is the level of price, therefore get determined at that particular level. Okay, OP is the price that gets determined. Now let us understand this diagram well. Okay, see what is shown here. Whenever I am talking about equilibrium conditions, I will be talking about certain aspects. Okay, first of all, there is short-run average cost curve shown. Then there is short-run marginal cost curve. Okay, then the horizontal line here is showing AR and MR curves. Okay, AR is equal to MR written over there, and based on this, equilibrium output and price is shown. Okay, now let me talk about this diagram little later. Let me just tell you that there are three conditions that can be or rather that can occur in the perfect competition. Okay, what are these three conditions? First of all, there can be supernormal profit in the short run, or there can be normal profit, or there can be loss situation. So let me start that. Let me repeat what I said. Perfect competition, okay, is a market where there is large number of buyers and sellers, prices are the same, and price gets determined by the forces of demand and supply, and that price is accepted by all the firms. Okay, it will not change according to the firms. Now, based on this, there are three possibilities by which the forces of demand and supply, okay, would determine the price, which will give rise to three possibilities in the short run. And what can be these three possibilities? Three possibilities will be supernormal profit, normal profit, or loss. That is, firm may earn supernormal profit, firm may earn normal profit, or firm may incur loss in the short run. Now let us first consider the possibility of supernormal profit. I will just take you to the first diagram here which I have drawn. This first diagram is the diagram of supernormal profit. Let us understand how this is a supernormal profit. Okay, see, again I would like to remind that equilibrium point is the point where MR is equal to MC. So in this diagram, where MR is equal to MC is happening at point E. Can you all see point E? Yes. Can you all see point E? Yes. So MR is equal to MC at point E, and that's the reason that is the price. Okay, that is the price, that is OP level of price is occurs. Okay, point O I will just mention here. OP level of price exists because MR is touching MC at point E. Okay. Now what is the cost incurred here? The cost is OS. See, because average cost, minimum average cost is at point R, and therefore the cost given here is OS. So now what did I say about the profit? Profit is what? Profit is what? TR minus TC. Total revenue minus total cost, right? So therefore, total revenue in this diagram is OQEP is the total revenue, because this is my price, OP is my price, isn't it? OQ is my output. So what I get as a total revenue is OQEP is the total revenue. Similarly, if OS is the cost given, what is the total cost here? OQRS. Yes, OQRS is the total cost, and the difference between the two is, come on, SREP is the profit level, because that is the difference between a total revenue and total cost, isn't it? So the shaded area shown here is nothing but profit. It is the profit level. Have you understood? So the total area that is shaded, okay, the shaded total area is nothing but the profit level. This is called as a supernormal profit, because this profit is over and above the normal profit. Let me just explain you what is a normal profit. Normal profit is the profit which is necessary for a firm to remain in the business. That is, that much income minimum is necessary if the firm has to remain in the business. Alright, that is a normal profit. So here this is supernormal profit, which is over and above the normal profit. Alright, so here I have shown the second possibility is normal profit. It is already told here, it is already written here, and this is the second diagram which is depicting the normal profit. Okay, so now see, this is the normal profit available. Okay, now see what is happening here. What is the difference between these two diagrams? What is the difference between these two diagrams? Here, the profit level, if you see, was higher, isn't it? Here, the profit level is, price level is just covering the average cost. Can you see the average cost is just covering? Okay, so what is happening here is, here it is the minimum profit that a firm has to get is the only that is possible in this diagram, isn't it? So what is happening to this firm which is earning normal profit? Just the average cost is getting covered, so that is the minimum that a business requires, okay, in order to remain in the business. Alright, so therefore in this diagram you have OP level of price, OQ level of output, okay, and the short-run average cost curve is being just getting covered under this diagram. Therefore, this is to be called as a normal profit situation. In the short run, there can also be the third possibility, that is of a loss, because if the demand and supply forces, okay, are applicable, then it is very much possible that the third possibility of loss, okay, can also occur if the price gets set at a low levels. Okay, firms don't have a choice; they have to accept it anyway. So therefore, there can be a possibility of loss. So therefore, third possibility is loss. Okay, now let us understand the loss situation. See, what is happening here is marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost at point E here. Can you all see? See, my pointer is there. At point E, marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost at this point. Therefore, the price that gets determined is the OP level of price. Alright. However, the cost that is there for the firm. See, minimum cost level is at point R. Can you all see point R? Yes. Okay. So, point R is the minimum level at which cost is, that is the minimum cost level. So, the cost that is OS is the cost. If I consider the level OS is the cost, then you can see that OP is lesser than OS, isn't it? So, if I talk in terms of total revenue and total cost, then I can say that OQEP is my total revenue and OQRS is the total cost. Then in that case, the shaded portion that is shown here, that is SREP, is the loss. Yes. Because I told you that total revenue minus total cost is loss. And therefore OQEP, okay, is less than OQRS. So the difference between the two is going to be loss. It is exactly opposite of the supernormal profit. Supernormal profit, we had price more than the cost. Here we are having cost more than the price, and that's the reason there is a occurrence of loss. Okay. See the second diagram. If you see here, you can see OQEP is the total revenue, OQEP is the total cost, and therefore it's a normal profit situation. Are you understanding? Sure, you are understanding this. Okay, fine. Now these are the possibilities in the short run. Okay, so there is a possibility that price level will be set in such a way that firm may incur profit, may incur loss, there will be normal profit, there will be supernormal profit, or there will be loss. Alright. However, in the long run, this situation doesn't remain. Okay, what happens in the long run is the picture is bit different. Why? I'll tell you. In case, okay, the firm has earned supernormal profit in the short run. Okay, if the firms, those which are there in the perfect competition, are earning supernormal profit in the short run, what happens is in the long run is there will be many new entrants which will observe the market and they will see that the firms are earning supernormal profit. And as we know that there is free entry and exit in perfect competition again, there will be many new entrants who will enter the market and the supernormal profit will get absorbed. And therefore, in the long run, there is no possibility of the supernormal profit. Then what is the possibility in the long run? Is it loss? Definitely not. Why? Because firms which have earned, or rather have incurred losses, they cannot sustain in the long run. They will have to shut down their businesses if the loss situation is not covered. So, what remains the only possibility is the normal profit. Firms which were earning supernormal profit in the short run will start earning normal profit in the long run. And firms which were earning losses will anyway have to shut down their businesses. So loss is not the possibility in the long run. And that's the reason in the long run we have only normal profits under perfect competition. Now this is clear from this diagram, long run equilibrium diagram, which is shown here. Let me just tell you, long run equilibrium, normal profit I have already discussed with you. See this diagram. Here you can see that LAC is nothing but long run average cost curve. LMC, rather I have written MC, that is marginal cost. Here I write LMC, that is long run marginal cost. And the price that gets determined is OP level of price at which OQ level of output is produced. Since MR is equal to MC is happening at point E where you can see the MR is touching MC curve, therefore OP is the level of price and OQ is the level of output. And in the long run, only normal profit is the possibility. Alright, so we have seen as far as perfect competition is concerned, we have seen some factors like in the short run equilibrium situations. Okay, three possibilities are there in the short run. Three possibilities in the short run, in the sense excess profit, normal profit, and the loss. But in the long run, there is only one possibility, that is a normal profit. Okay, so equilibrium conditions are thought from two angles, that is short run equilibrium and long run equilibrium. Short run there are three possibilities, long run there is only one possibility. Alright, now we are going to see now second type of the market, that is a monopoly. Again, this is an extreme form where there is a single seller in the market and he has a complete control over the price. He is a price maker in the market. His goods are such that there is no close substitute for the goods sold by a monopolist, and that makes him a monopolist. That gives him the power to become a monopolist. That is because there are no close substitutes for his products. Alright, so what we see in monopoly is there is a complete negation of the competition. Like in perfect competition, we said that there are large number of buyers and sellers. So there is no control over the price, and monopoly is another extreme where there is a complete control over the price because he is a single seller and he is selling goods in such a way that there are no close substitutes for the products, and therefore we can say that it's a complete negation of the competition. Okay, he is the only one who has a full control over the market. Here you will not see the difference between a firm and industry. In all of the markets there is a concept of firm and the industry, but we cannot differentiate between the firm and industry in case of monopoly because it is one and the same. Then monopolist always faces a downward sloping demand curve. That is why, because monopolist is a price maker, but whenever the output expansion is to be taken place, okay, that will take place only when he reduces the price. And therefore, when output expansion is possible with the reduction in price, monopolist faces downward sloping demand curve. Okay, and of course in this particular market, which is a monopoly market, there are no immediate rivals at all. Okay, that is the reason he has a complete control over the market, and sometimes it leads to the exploitation of the consumers as well. Now we will see some of the sources which give monopolist a power. I told you just now that monopolist is a seller who is very powerful one because he has complete control over the market. Now, what are the factors, or rather, what are the sources which make monopolist or give monopolist a power to become a monopolist? First of all, it can be nature of the product. That is, those are the commodities which are sold by a monopolist, or the nature of the commodity is such that it gives power to the monopolist. For example, gold is a rare commodity, isn't it? It is not available every now and at every place, isn't it? So there is a possibility that wherever the gold is available, okay, it gives those authorities which are holding gold mines and all, of course, become monopolist, isn't it? Then a crude oil stock, it can be another example. These are the commodities which are rarely available. So the authorities, okay, which have the hold over these commodities become monopolist. Okay. Then secondly, technology can also give the monopoly power to the person. Okay, that is technology, research and innovation, okay, is also a kind of source of monopoly power. Thirdly, legal protection itself, that is when the commodities sold by monopolists are legally protected, okay, or the legal protection is there for the commodities of a monopolist, still it is a source of monopoly power. Okay, for example, you have copyrights, patent rights. Why all this is given to the people? Copyrights, patent rights is given so that there will be not new entrant, as far as some creativity is concerned, that is protected by giving legal protection. So even giving legal protection will create a monopoly or give monopoly power to the holder. Then cartel formation. Sometimes it may happen that there are few sellers in the market, and being few sellers in the market, in order to dictate the price in the market, they may come together. Okay, they may come together and they form a cartel, and this cartel can be formed legally or illegal. So what is the use of doing this? They can be one entity and they can catch hold of the market. They can exploit the consumers by forming the cartel, and therefore price terms can be dictated. Alright, so again, cartel formation is the source of monopoly power. And lastly, barriers itself can be created for the new competition, and the monopoly is retained, and that becomes the source of the monopoly power. Are you understanding? Yes? Okay, fine. Now just the way we have seen the equilibrium conditions under perfect competition, let us quickly see the conditions under monopoly. Okay, that is short-run equilibrium condition and the long-run equilibrium condition in the market. I take you to the first diagram which I have drawn here to show the three possibilities, okay, which arise in the short run. When we talk about the monopoly, okay, even if the monopolist is a single seller and he has a complete control over the market, in spite of that, there is a possibility that in the short run, okay, he may come across three possibilities which we have seen even under perfect competition. There can be supernormal profit, there can be normal profit, or there can be loss. Now you all will be wondering why there should be loss under monopoly when the monopolist is the sole seller in the market and he has a complete control over the market. The reason is, initially when the production starts, there might be some time required for covering the cost. So in the short run, even a monopolist may face the situation of loss. So here I have shown you the situation of supernormal profit in the first diagram. I told you that monopolist would be facing the downward sloping curve, isn't it? So you can see SSC is downward sloping, sorry, not SSC, AR is downward sloping and MR is downward sloping. I can show you here. This is AR curve, this is MR curve. Okay, AR is downward sloping and MR is downward sloping here, and you can see that MR is touching MC at this particular point named E, where the line is extended to AR to form the AOP price. Okay, and at which the cost given, that is minimum cost that is available here, is OT. Okay, and therefore the total revenue that is earned by the firm is OQRP, and the total cost that is earned by the firm is OQET. Okay, total cost incurred by the firm is OQET. So the difference between the two is PRET. Okay, that's the difference between the two, which becomes a supernormal profit. So here short-term average cost curve is shown, short-term marginal cost curve is shown, and average revenue is downward sloping and marginal revenue is downward sloping. So the point at which AR is touching MC is at somewhere is at point E, and the line is extended to get the price level. Therefore OQRP minus OQET gives a supernormal profit TERP. Alright, this was all about supernormal profit. Now let us come to the situation of okay, there is a possibility of normal profit as well, where firm will just cover the cost, okay, in the short run. Even a monopoly firm will just cover the cost under the short run. Now as far as long run period, okay, the last possibility that remains here is also loss. So in case if it happens that average cost, okay, or the minimum cost that is to be covered, monopoly firm is not able to cover the cost, then it may happen that the firm incurs loss in the short run. Alright, so short run equilibrium, if we see, the loss situation is shown here. See here what is happening is OQST is the total cost that is incurred, and OQRP is the price that is getting established here. And you can see the difference between the two, that is TPRS. Okay, the difference between the two is the loss. So in the short run, firm may incur loss. Alright, now we will see now what happens in the long run when the monopoly firm is there. Now you know that monopolist is a single seller and he has a complete control over the price, and that's the reason in the long run there is no possibility of the loss. Somewhat the other way, monopoly is going to make up his loss which occurred in the short run, and the only possibility which remains is supernormal profit in the long run. In exceptional cases, it will happen that in exceptional cases, I am saying, sometimes in exceptional cases you will see normal profit occurring there. Alright, so therefore when we see a long run equilibrium of a firm, you will be able to see that here only supernormal profit is shown. This is the diagram for long run equilibrium, where OQRP is the total revenue, OQST is the total cost, and therefore the difference between the two, which I will mark with red, is nothing but the supernormal profit earned by the firm in the long run period. Alright, so to sum up, I can say for a monopoly that there are three possibilities in the short run, equilibrium conditions rather: normal profit, supernormal profit and the loss. But in the long run, there is always a possibility of supernormal profit. In exceptional cases, it may go up to normal profit, but in no condition it will be loss. Okay, now let me just point out, we have discussed two market structures, perfect competition and a monopoly. Okay, let me just then figure out the difference that we have found between the two markets here. One is the theoretical market and the other one is an extreme form of the market where a single seller exists. So the number of buyers, perfect competition has large number of buyers, whereas we have seen here there is a single seller. Secondly, we have seen that firms and industry, you can find the difference, that is a firm is different than the industry, but in monopoly you will find firm and industries are one and the same, isn't it? Third point, the difference that we have found here is in perfect competition there are no close substitutes available, but in perfect competition there are close substitutes, rather identical commodities are there. In monopoly we find that there are no close substitutes available. Then in perfect competition, there is a free entry and exit. Whereas in monopoly, the entry is to be restricted because he is a single seller, he doesn't have to leave the hold over the market. Then, if you see in perfect competition, in the long run period, only normal profits are possible. In fact, in monopoly, supernormal profits is the possibility. And here, what we see in perfect competition is price discrimination is not possible because prices have to remain the same. But in case of monopoly, price discrimination is possible. Rather, price discrimination is very important feature of the monopoly. Because monopolist is a single seller, he can discriminate prices according to the buyers. So, there are three types in which it is done. There is first degree price discrimination, second degree price discrimination and third degree price discrimination. According to the first degree price discrimination, monopolist may differ prices according to the buyer. In second degree, he may differ the prices according to the based on geographical locations, etc. In third degree price discrimination, monopolists may charge different prices according to the elasticities of the market. That is, the market, when it is found to be an inelastic market, monopolists may charge higher price over there. And when the market is elastic in nature, monopolists will charge less price in that market in order to sell more output. So likewise, according to the price discrimination, different prices are charged by monopolists. You understand? Okay. Now, after this, let me just quickly talk about another form of the market, which is a monopolistic competition. It is the mixture of perfect competition and a monopoly, because its features are such that the features are combined of monopoly and perfect competition. Okay, let us quickly see the features of monopolistic competition. In this particular market, you find large number of sellers, okay, as well as large number of buyers. Okay, in monopolistic competition, however, this market, okay, has the very important feature, and that is of product differentiation. Like in perfect competition, we have seen that products are identical. In monopoly, we have seen that there is no close substitute to the product. Exactly opposite of this situation exists in monopolistic competition, where products are differentiated on the basis of color, size, shape, etc. and they are very close substitutes to each other. Monopolistic competition is a situation which you find in your day-to-day life every now and then. Take examples of shampoos, take examples of biscuits, take examples of several other products like soaps. Most of the times it is found that the product is differing from the other product only in terms of fragrance, or in terms of color, or in terms of packaging, or in terms of size. That's the only difference. Rest all remains the same. This means what? Under monopolistic competition, there is a product differentiation made on the basis of all these factors. And in fact, those products are very close substitutes to each other. So there is not much difference between it, and therefore buyers can make the wide choice between the products that are available into the market. You get me? Okay, so product differentiation is one which makes monopolistic competition stand out of these two. Then, if we see in monopolistic competition, there is a partial control over the price. That is, price can be partially controlled, okay, by a seller under monopolistic competition. He cannot fully control the price since the stiff competition exists, but he has a partial control over the price. Okay. Apart from that, selling cost is the main feature. Again, just like product differentiation, selling cost is another very important feature of monopolistic competition. So, selling cost. Now, why selling cost is required in this market? Just now I told you that the products are close substitutes of each other, and they just differ in terms of color, size, shape, etc. And therefore buyer can switch on their choices, and that's the reason selling cost is very important. Selling cost is nothing but an advertisement expenditure that is incurred by the firm. They have to convince buyers to buy their own products, and therefore advertisement expenditure is huge in this particular type of market. They hire celebrities to convince the people, to buy their product, because that is the only way they can make their product stand out of other products available in the market. And that's the reason it is very important that selling cost is to be considered in this market. Now, how selling cost differs from that of the production cost? Production cost is the cost which you incur for producing the goods and services, whereas selling cost is the cost which is taken up for marketing of the goods and services. Those are the advertisement expenditures. Okay, there can be certain promotions launched by the company. There can be door-to-door sales. There can be, giving sample free, etc., etc. All these efforts are nothing but that is all selling cost. And this selling cost is very important in this particular market, because this market seller has to convince the buyer to buy the product. There are close substitutes, and therefore one has to convince the buyer, and one has to capture the market only in that way. Then there is of course free entry and exit in this market, and there is a concept of group. Professor Chamberlain has given the concept of group for this market, because he made an argument saying that in order to call an industry, form an industry, these terms can be used when there are similar commodities or other identical commodities when are sold. You can call a firm and a group of firms as an industry. But when there is a product differentiation existing, rather than calling it an industry, it should be called as a group. So under monopolistic competition, he gave the concept of group and not an industry. After that, price and non-price competition is another feature of the monopolistic competition, because monopolistic competition exists in terms of price. For prices the competition exists, but apart from that they also compete in terms of non-price competition, like just now as I said, advertisement expenditure. I gave you an example of advertisement expenditure, isn't it? So these are the specific features of the monopolistic competition. This is the monopolistic competition is the situation which we come across in daily life. That's the most common market form that is found around, whatever we buy, because there are n number of products available competing with each other, and there are n number of sellers selling the products which are known to be close substitutes of each other. Are you all clear to monopolistic competition? Yes. Last form of the market, that is an oligopoly. Now when we talk about an oligopoly market, this is again the form where you will find that in the market there are only 2 to 8 sellers available. It's not a monopoly, it's not a monopolistic competition. It comes somewhere in between. Monopoly is a single seller, oligopoly is something more than that. So between 2 to 8 or 8 to 10 sellers are there in the market. That market is captured by only those few sellers. But the features of this market are all the more interesting than any other market, because the whole economic theories are discussing the oligopoly market in the most interesting way because of typical features of this market. The most competitive form that you can see is in the oligopoly market, and therefore very typical features this oligopoly market will show. In oligopoly market, there can be homogeneous or heterogeneous commodities. That is, products can be identical or products may differentiate. That is how the oligopoly market feature is. Now, the most interesting fact of the oligopoly market is the independence that sellers get. That is, they have an independence of deciding the price. However, they are rivals of each other. And that's the reason in this particular market you will find that their decision making depends on each other, and therefore independence with interdependence is somewhat confusing feature of the oligopoly market. Because when oligopolist decides the price, he has to consider the price made by his rivals, price decided by his rivals, and every now and then there is an uncertainty in the market as to if a rival is decreasing the price, then what will happen to the business or rather the market share of an oligopolist. So always one oligopolist fears the actions of the other oligopolist in the market. One seller always be fearful with the other seller in the market, because as soon as the price is reduced by other seller, he will capture the major share of the market, and therefore in this market you will find the situation where if any oligopolist tries to increase the price, the actions will not be followed by other oligopolists in the market, because they fear that they will lose the market share. But if anybody reduces the price, it creates the fear in the market, and everybody will reduce the price with the fear that they will lose the market share. Okay, so therefore in this particular market, price rigidity is very important feature. Once the price gets determined, nobody wants to deviate from the price. So increase or decrease in price will not happen, because decreasing the price will be cutting off their own profits, and therefore no oligopolist will try to make that move of cutting down the price. Alright, but every oligopolist will stick to the price which is already determined in the market. Alright, and therefore price rigidity is the very important feature of this particular market. Again, in this market you will see that there is huge advertisement expenditure existing. Uncertainty is always there, because as I said, no oligopolist will trust the other person, because he always has a fear that if he reduces the price, it will be compulsory for even him to reduce the price, and therefore there is always a fear in their mind that the other person will reduce the price. So this is most uncertain form of the market, and therefore the cartel which I have spoken about to you was from this market. Cartel formation is common in this market where there is a legal agreement or an illegal agreement between the oligopolists for fixing of the price. That is, they will come together with an agreement that no one will change the price in the cartel, and the price will be determined. The price gets decided in such a way that all the firms make the profit, and therefore they may make legal or illegal agreement saying that certain profit levels will be decided. Okay, accordingly price will be decided. So that it can be decided by a firm which is very dominant in the market. It can be decided by a firm which is known to be a barometric leader in the market, or it can be decided by the firm which is a low cost firm in the market. So depending on their market control, it will be decided, and others will follow that price when they are into the cartel. Therefore, cartel formation is very common in the oligopoly market, and that is the need of this market. Otherwise, there will be cutthroat competition in the market where everybody will try to reduce the price and capture the market share, but it will go up to the extent that they themselves will have to lose the entire profit that is there in the market. Alright, so this is all about an oligopoly market. Okay, so today we have seen, to sum up, 4 forms of the market: perfect competition, an idealistic form; monopoly, a single seller form; we have seen monopolistic competition, a mixture of monopoly and perfect competition, which is the most upward market form of the market, and an oligopoly where few sellers exist in the market, but there is a cutthroat competition and they depend on each other even for the price decisions. Thank you. Thanks a lot for patiently listening.